What's up, everybody? Tis I, Divine Intervention. Welcome back to another episode of AEW Dynamite Recap and Review. Joined as always by All Elite Joker. And this week joined by our special guest, Vic. Tell the people what's up.
Hey, how you doing? I'm back in wrestling, y'all. At least for the night, because it's mainly a week. People have to step away. But this evening was a great show, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Awesome. Well, let's get into every juicy detail here. Starting off this episode of Dynamite pretty strong. Got CM Punk versus Max Caster. By the way, this week in Columbia, South Carolina, for those who may have missed it. Anthony Bowens at ringside kind of had a rap. Of course, the Acclaim's usual shtick coming down. He, of course, was the first one to make a Will Smith reference. Did not take long for them to jump all over this. I think today's kind of the last day, meme-wise, right? Before it becomes uncool to talk about Will Smith anymore.
I think that's how memes work.
Yeah.
Next week it'll be forgotten.
Reference Will Smith, talked about how CM Punk's movie's the only thing that puts him to sleep. Voice of the Moistless, I got a chuckle out of that one. And grabbing the pants like a Z-Pack. Max Caster out here taking shots. Continuing to work over the Punk's back from last week. References Max, his match with Dax last week. Hardest hitting wrestler in the biz as far as what the commentary team had to say. Bowens ended up doing an outside assist. There was a mic drop attempt, nobody home, tombstone into Anaconda Vice for the win. Pretty straightforward CM Punk match, but I thought this was a really impressive showing by Max Caster. Joker, your thoughts?
Likewise, Caster is always getting better and better. He always has fun with the raps. But I hope people actually appreciate his ability in the ring, because he does bring something to the table when it comes to that. Not just the fun nature of his raps, I'll put it that way. But yeah, good match. Punk has this tendency to make people have really good wrestling matches, and I appreciate that. And Punk just keeps, getting better and better every time we see him. And so I'm waiting for him to peak. But yet another great match, back to back for CM Punk.
Aged like fine wine, he has.
Vic,
obviously CM Punk familiar, I'm sure. What are your thoughts on this match?
Personally, I appreciate that he's just there to get people over. That's clearly what he's there for. You know what I mean? He's not. He's gonna go after a title and whatever, but not like the same way that Adam Cole. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I appreciate the fact that he is just making people look awesome.
Yeah. He's
taking bumps that he doesn't necessarily have to, but is doing it. You know what I mean? This is the ROH CM Punk. This is the CM Punk that's having fun. And I appreciate it. Now, the whole back thing, because here's the truth. I've been waiting to see what's going on between him and Colt Cabana. That's what I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see when they come out with a little bit of that drama.
I feel like we all have been waiting for that, and part of me wonders if they've just agreed to keep it cordial and not bring it up, because they still, as far as I know, they still.
I think it would be great storytelling if they were in a situation and then they hooked it up.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yes. I want the match, too.
Yes. I think that.
I didn't say I didn't want it. I'm just saying why I think we haven't gotten it.
No, because in my opinion, it would be very internet wrestling community.
I agree.
And I think it would be great.
AEW isn't the type to rush storylines too. So even if they did patch things up in the back, I feel like they would hold that, because people are clamoring for it, but they've kept them as far apart as humanly possible. So I feel like if this were to ever be breached, might be several years before we even hint that they might have patched things up, if that's truly the case.
No, the only reason I bring it up is because of the back thing. So now the back thing heavily talked about in that podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's the only reason why that brought me to Colt Cabana. So I'm just like, all right, are they gonna? Okay. So I'm interested in talking. So before I ramble, I'm sorry. But
after the match, Tony Schiavone came into the ring to speak to CM Punk, obviously questioning what the motion here meant last week. Punk asks Columbia, South Carolina, if they know what it means, and of course, it means CM Punk, apparently. But at the end of the day, he's got a lot of grays. He's going to have more grays, more scars, and more championship wins before his future in AEW is over. Joker, could he be the next world champion for you?
I mean, as much as I would want him to be, I don't know. I kind of feel like Vic hit the nail on the head a second ago. He's there to put people over. And that's all he's been doing since he's gotten there. I'm sure they're going to put the title on him, and now might be the time. Who knows? Maybe they just want to go ahead and get it knocked out of the way and then have somebody else, if you had MJF take it right off of him, that's that MJF kind of heat, especially after the saga that they had. But I don't know. I don't see him being the next champion as much as I would enjoy it. I'd love to see Punk with a belt, and he doesn't need one, as he's clearly shown since he's gotten back.
Well,
I mean, look, everybody looks better with some gold draped over their shoulder or around their waist, but I mean...
but here's the thing. I don't think Big Gold. I think TNT. Because I think that a whole situation on the mic between him and the guy that talks a lot of crap, the old guy that has the team.
Oh, Dan Lambert.
Yes.
Did you say Teen Titans?
I think a little mic thing between those two. Ooh. I think that's money. And CM Punk going after the TNT championship. I think it's kind of like John Cena when he went and had the US title, and then they did the open challenge, and it was this big thing. You know what I mean? I think CM Punk can do that.
I could definitely see him being an open challenge type champion.
Yeah,
I agree. I think that definitely could open the doors.
Not a bad idea.
Especially if he's there to put people over. Like if he gets the title, has a bunch of really great matches, and then uses that platform to set the stage for the next person. Because for me, as much as I would love MJF to take it off of Punk, as far as the world title, he's already done so much for MJF. There's so many other people on the roster that could use a little bit of that shine. So I think TNT title could be a great destination for championship belt for CM Punk here in AEW. Speaking of MJF, we move right along into a promo segment almost immediately. Alex Marvez backstage. Smart Mark Sterling is hanging up more of those Wardlow posters that we kind of saw on the barricade in the first match. Basically just trying to simultaneously erase Wardlow from our minds, but also talk about him several times throughout this broadcast. But basically talking about how the Pinnacle is on top right now. FTR is about to have a match with the Asinine Boys. And Dax making it very much known up front that he is not cool with getting in the middle of this beef between Wardlow and MJF. MJF saying allegedly Wardlow talked a bunch of shit about them in the past, but who cares? If Pinnacle's on top, what could be better? Obviously, Max and Cash Wheeler all in. Dax looking a little hesitant. Vic, are you a big FTR fan?
I respect them in the ring. I don't think they have mic skills. That's
fair.
I think that they. Well, honestly, when Brett got attacked at the Hall of Fame, like I was there, and then when Dax punched that guy in the face, like I'll always love him for that.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
I heard that was a good lick that he got on that dude too.
They did, and I saw it, and because we were all in the stands, like fuck him up. Like anyway, I was wild that night, but yeah. I mean, I respect them in the ring. I respect their gimmick. I respect the fact that they're trying to stick to old school wrestling. I just think they don't have mic skills, unfortunately. You know
That's
what I mean?
100% fair. Joker, speaking of Bret Hart, a lot of Bret Hart references over the past couple of weeks coming from FTR. Do you think that he steps in as the replacement for Tully going forward?
Quite possibly, especially with the whole Owen Hart, tournament going on. I'd be surprised if he didn't show up, especially with all the references made by the Young Bucks, made by FTR. Dax pulled out the sharpshooter and very deep sharpshooter. Yeah, it has to be coming. I don't ever want to say something is 100% happening because with AEW, you never truly know. But I feel like they wouldn't hint this much if it wasn't happening. And I feel like that's part of their face turn that feels like it's also happening.
I mean, look, we're talking about the legendary Bret, the Hitman Hart, the best there ever, the best there is, the best there was,
the best there ever will be.
Teaming up with, a team that's quote unquote best in the world. You know what I mean?
In the ring, I mean, there's an argument to be made as far as tag teams go.
I agree. Now, the thing is, as far as the way that the whole gimmick goes, I think it's a perfect pair. I think they're definitely going to do that, and I think it will be a good time. And mind you, I feel like AEW is just good at this stuff. Like, look, Darby Allin and Sting, gold. You know what I mean? Like the whole team Taz. Some people don't like it, but I think it's good. You know what I'm saying?
Got a comment here saying Bret Hart is overrated.
I mean, hey. There's people that like him. There's people that don't. Just like Bacon. Mind you, we're watching the screw job simultaneously while doing the show.
Mm-hmm. Elvis, you had better believe this weekend we are coming after that UPR championship belt. Once again, Wednesday nights will reign supreme. All right. I'm screaming. Moving on to the next match. We got Jay Lethal versus John Moxley this evening. Moving on to the next bout. John Moxley having joined what I like to call the British Badass Club. Definitely, look, with Regal at the helm, absolutely.
On with the mask.
Is doing a live set. Oh, that's pretty cool. Crowd was actually 50-50 split on this. Just as much Moxley chants as there were Jay Lethal fans in the crowd. I was very surprised to hear that. Moxley offering up some free shots to Jay Lethal to kind of open him up, start a brawl. Tope Suicida into the commercial. Overall, this was a really hard-hitting match. They were able to kind of talk about how Lethal is a former Ring of Honor champion, obviously with AEW acquiring Ring of Honor and the supercard that's supposed to be taking place on Friday. A lot of mentions of Ring of Honor sprinkled out throughout the evening. But there was a wicked clothesline spot in the middle of the ring. Paradigm shifts from John Moxley on a bad leg. Jay Lethal went for the elbow drop and with a paradigm shift finisher. Jay looks a little conflicted at the end on the handshake. Vic, do you see a heel turn in Jay Lethal's future?
Honestly, after the whole macho spot, I might see a machismo.
Yeah, I was thinking black machismo.
No machismo. What am I saying? Shout out to Razor Ramon. But a black machismo. You know what I mean? We might see a little bit of that because I got a feeling that the fans want it. You know what I'm saying? You see what I mean? I got a feeling that the fans want it, and I got to see
like a different side of Jay Lethal.
Instead of a heel turn, I got a feeling he's going to go into his alter ego.
Oh, okay.
Black machismo.
Okay. I'll be honest with you guys.
I need the cowboy hat. I need all of it.
I was going to say, Joker knows I don't want to say not a huge fan. I don't have as much previous experience with Jay Lethal's, records and his previous work. So getting to see that other side of him as a new fan would be very interesting because I've only gotten to see the glimpses of it, obviously, when he's coming to the ring and that kind of stuff. But Joker.
The thing with him and Flair, just broke the internet. I'm sorry. I just have to say.
Wow. That was so good. It was so good.
Tony Khan talking about the debut of Miss Toni Storm, and she is all elite. Friday on the Ring of Honor Super Show. I mean, look, we were just talking about it. Joker and I will definitely be there. catching it live. Can't wait to see it. We will get to the Toni Storm segment a little bit later on in the show. Joker, right now, what are your thoughts? Moxley's your dude. How did you feel about his match tonight?
I was so conflicted because Moxley's my dude, but so is Jay Lethal. Like, I've been a fan of Jay Lethal's for a very long time. I'm so happy to see him on such a large stage now. And really, I feel like he's shown why he's been in the business for so long and such a, somebody said on Squared Circle, it's like, I'm so glad that there's somebody there that's not an ex-WWE guy that's legitimately like a really good like hand that is there to get other people over and also give something different. Somebody else who can be one of those solid stands to elevate the division as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And I love watching Jay Lethal work. I would love for the Black Machismo. I saw it a little bit, and I'm just like, please, just a little bit, even if it's just for a little while, just the throwback of it, because it was so much fun, that character. But yeah, it was a great match. I always love Moxley. He always has those hard-hitting matches. Like you said, the split crowd surprised me as well. We're used to have Moxley being the roar within the audience, and so having those equal lethal chants is always, you love to see it.
Yeah, love when I don't want to say some of the underappreciated guys. I think that any person who, obviously there's tiers to this whole wrestling thing, and it's nice when any person can be cheered. I know that AEW fans have been criticized for cheering too much, but if you're having a good time, man, let them know. Had a very interesting promo segment next. Marina Shafir, if you are like us and have been keeping up with Dark in your spare time, we've seen quite a bit of Marina Shafir working her magic and breaking arms, but had a brief video package here kind of detailing some of her more brutal wins. Could we be seeing her on Dynamite soon, or maybe even Rampage?
Hopefully.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I think that there'll be a small, because I think from the beginning, like they've been, they'll showcase people there first and then slowly bring them up.
Yeah.
Right? So I think you're absolutely right on that.
More of this. I'm 100% more for plugging in women's wrestlers and making the people curious, or trying to instill why we should care. Marina Shafir has a very impressive record or background as far as her MMA and black belt experience. So could be pretty interesting. And we will talk about Marina Shafir again before this broadcast is over.
Mm-hmm.
I
love her entrance music.
Yes. She could be the next Ronda Rousey. I mean, if they, book her, I mean, obviously nobody will ever be on the level of a Ronda Rousey, but as far as like someone in the ring who is a true martial artist seen as a threat, because like Ty Conti, for me, who has martial arts experience, she's very fun. She likes to dance and stuff. I feel like that makes it to where people might not take her as seriously as someone who comes in completely stone-faced, says nothing, breaks arms, and leaves.
The only problem with that is that they always need a Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Ronda Rousey has terrible mic skills.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, she's a badass in the ring, but she can't cut a promo for shit. And so, like, and honestly, Shayna Baszler is the same thing. She's amazing. I mean, Shayna Baszler is 10 times better, but
right.
You know what I mean? That's that problem that they have. Those badass chicks, unfortunately.
I think that's a legitimate argument. I mean, you will have to say something at some point, or have someone say it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, if Paul Heyman were ever paired with Ronda Rousey. Anyway, wrong show. Sorry.
Wrong show. But I think that would also be a killer team.
Yeah.
Maybe whatever's left of him after WrestleMania between Brock and Roman, maybe she can scoop him up. All right. Stick with us here for just a minute. This is the AEW Dynamite Recap and Review. We'll be right back after these messages.
We are outnumbered by machines. Humans have a strength that cannot be measured.
This thing is something we've never seen before.
My name is Marcus Wright.
You think you're human?
I am human.
I know he's not the enemy.
If we stay the course, we are dead! We are all dead!
Yo, I forgot.
You what?
I forgot that movie existed.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody. In case you forgot that movie existed, check out UPR Entertainment. They review movies that you forgot. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
They're a great team. They're really awesome.
Check us
Even though they technically lost at Family Feud. Anyway, moving on.
Sorry,
FTR versus Gun Club. AKA the Ass Boys, with Billy Gunn ass, as Danhausen loves to say. No Danhausen sightings this evening. Sorry for any disappointment across the board, Joker. I know you're truly heartbroken. MJF came out to be on commentary, sat right next to Toni, who looked absolutely thrilled to be there. Excalibur made sure to do a rat in the kitchen plug, since MJF was joining them out there, and MJF was confused as to why that would be. FTR pretty much ran circles around the Gun Club, although they did utilize their advantage, their numbers advantage, to get a couple really solid near falls. They did a really good job of cutting the ring in half. Billy Gunn had a lot of outside interference. But in the end, they came away, FTR did come away with the win, but in the middle of the match, Wardlow makes an appearance, storming his way through security, down the stairs. It looks like he is trudging beeline straight for Max and ends up in the arms of a huge security mosh pit. Vic, how do you see this whole MJF Wardlow situation playing out?
I appreciate the fact that MJF at 25 years old already has the ability to get another guy over.
Thank you. I said the exact same thing during the broadcast. I said the exact same thing.
She did say that.
Yeah. I appreciate the fact that he already has the ability to do this. And this whole thing that's going on, apparently, I don't know if this is true, but if you all watch the YouTubes on wrestling, you know, the whole fight between these two, if that's going on, I get it. You got it's so this guy knows his worth, and he's playing puppet master right now. And the fact that he has the ability to get this guy over and has been doing this for years is genius. This guy's genius. You know what I mean? Vince McMahon really has interest in this guy. But in my opinion,
I have never said that he was bad.
No, you never did. But I just know that there's so many haters out there to hear somebody else singing the praises of MJF.
The problem is that you cannot give MJF a script.
And look, like I said earlier, he is a despicable human being. There are no redeeming qualities about him. He is awful. But on that mic, in the ring, oh my goodness.
But Vic hit the nail on the head. Like, you cannot put a script in that man's hand and have the same effect.
I agree.
Now, the one thing that he has behind him, which I think is awesome, is that he is, even his own family, they stick with the gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody sticks with the gimmick. Like, the gimmick is just that he's an asshole to everybody. He's probably a nice guy. You know what I mean? But the gimmick is just that.
Yeah.
Did you see the tweet his mom posted?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yo, his mom posted this picture of him. He had to be like 5 or something. And she's like, look at this cute, adorable little boy of mine. I have no idea what happened. I am so sorry.
I'm sure that made the rounds. It's great.
It did. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, no, these people are very smart. Very, very smart. This is definitely
yeah.
somebody that studied the business, knows what he's doing. In 10 years, wow. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
because this is only the beginning for him, for sure.
Yeah.
At the end of all of this, FTR very upset, kind of getting in MJF's face a little bit after his treatment of Wardlow, kicking him out of the building. Obviously, still on the fence about getting in the middle of Max's business. People seem pretty psyched that FTR might be turning to the light side. So hopefully, we'll see big things from them. We will hear from them one more time before the evening is out. I had a question here about my opinion on the Impact Wrestling Knockout Women's Division. I love women's wrestling. I think that all the women who come out here and slay it are super, super talented. As far as the Impact Women's Division specifically, I am just now starting my journey on, more indie style wrestling, I guess. Stepping away from WWE. It's only been a couple of years for me. So I have very limited experience, but what I've seen so far, very impressed. Moving on. Keith Lee versus Hobbs promo. This fight's kind of been on the back burner for a lot of people since Keith Lee walked in the door. And it was set up that he was going to be going up against Team Taz. They plugged the fight for Rampage. And pretty much Keith Lee says he's impressed that Hobbs stepped to him man to man, but he's now made the mistake of wanting to fight him one-on-one. And Hobbs is pretty sure he's going to just spinebuster that ass. Vic, two big beefy boys. What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to be a really good match. I think Keith Lee is going to showcase some of the stuff that we haven't seen since NXT. And I'm here for it. I think that right now, Keith Lee's push is just going to be more than anything in the ring, because that is the part that we've been missing for a long time. When he was Bearcat Lee, nobody knew what the hell they were doing with him. We didn't see the same Keith Lee that we saw in NXT. And I think that now he's in a place where he's going to put himself in some matches, or they're going to put him in some matches where he can definitely do that. And I think that that's going to happen prior to him chasing any belts, getting any feuds, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's pretty much the direction that they're going to go with him, and I'm excited to see it. All right.
Hell yeah. Joker, I know that you love both of these guys. Hobbs with his best spinebuster in the business, and and Keith Lee with just basking him.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about this match?
Oh man, I've been waiting for this match since he showed up. Two big beefy boys about to throw down, and Hobbs has gotten so, he was good when he came in, but he's gotten so much better, with his presence, with his timing. That spinebuster he gave to Keith Lee, not many people can get a spinebuster like that onto Keith Lee. Keith Lee is not a small guy. The man's what, 350?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a fire match, and I can only imagine what's going to happen during the match. But Keith Lee has finally been unchained, and I am so happy to see it.
Yeah. Hate to bring this up, but very interesting point here. Could we just point out that one minority won tonight? Is this a problem for you guys? Do you feel like more minorities should be winning, or do you feel like they put on a good enough showing that it justifies the loss?
I think it depends on the story, though.
Right. I feel like. Go ahead.
I mean, because the thing is, if the story sucks, you know what I mean. So, yes, you always want to see that diversity, like everybody. I was very happy to see Bobby Lashley. You know what I'm saying? I'm very happy with Phil Sky right now. Clearly, very happy with Thunder Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as winning matches, I don't necessarily see that as a thing. I don't know. You know what I mean? I think that when it comes to that kind of representation, I think it's about who's holding the belt, because clearly all of this is fake. Somebody picks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The reality of the situation is just that, all right, you can put a belt to somebody, but what if the match was terrible?
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or like if it turns out like Jeff Hardy versus Sting in TNA type thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay.
Still waiting for that redemption
No,
match.
there's a title change, but there's a stain in the match. You feel me?
Mhm.
Like, why does all of that really matter? So yeah, I mean, I think I rambled too much on that, but yeah.
No, I think that everything you said was totally valid. I mean, it definitely brings a different opinion on it, especially since, you know, at the end of the day, I agree. I think that it should tell a story. If it doesn't make sense for someone to win based on this story, then, you know, I don't think that race or anything like that should come into play.
And the other thing about it is AEW is always really good about, you know, there's not many squash matches in AEW. If you really sit there and like take a step back and look at it, no one ever comes out looking bad in a match. Like somebody got beat, yeah, but I mean, there's always a good showing. And yeah, like you said, Scorpio, I mean, if you look at the men of the year, they're both a minority. I don't know if anybody else realizes that, but like both of them are like what's his name? Ethan's
Ethan?
Armenian, you know.
I mean, but you know what though? But sometimes some of that is regional because you see how Thunder Rosa came up with the Texas flag, and
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Well, she lives in Texas.
and then like for example, whenever they go to Saudi Arabia, what's this kid's name?
Oh, Mansoor.
Oh, Mansoor.
Mansoor is doing something.
Yo, have you ever seen Luchasaurus without his mask on?
Didn't he win like a Royal Rumble at some point? You know what I mean? Like,
Did he?
it is. So they got to pander to the audience depending on where they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't think that kind of stuff is always coming into play. It's not going to come into play in New York. It might in Saudi Arabia. You know,
Right.
maybe not in DC. Maybe definitely not in LA. But in Texas, in San Antonio, somebody Mexican's getting over. You know what I mean? So like, you know, it depends where. Well,
But look, again, we well, almost all opinions are valid here. There are some that just aren't. Anybody who talks bad about Jade Cargill, cut. All right, got to keep this train.
Bitch, shut up before I kick you in the face again. Nobody gives a damn about that karate shit.
I can't wait to talk about this baddie section. But we got a couple other things to cover first. What up? Had the Jazz promo, Jericho Appreciation Society, basically saying that for the past 3 weeks he's been revolutionary. And the gist of all of this, after a bunch of talking, is Proud and Powerful and Eddie Kingston were behind one of the curtains. It's kind of been the gist of this whole gimmick for the past couple weeks. They totally beat that ass and beat them all the way down to the ring. Kind of a 50-50 situation here. You know, at first PMP and Eddie looked really strong because they got them by the element of surprise. The numbers game won out, and JAS standing strong at the end. Bat shots to Eddie's back. Those look sick. But at the end of the day, Jericho Appreciation Society stands strong. Joker, who are the 2 additional people that you think will be joining them to balance out the books? No guesses? You usually fantasy book this kind of thing.
That's the thing, man. Like, I don't know. Like because Mox is tied up with the Blackpool Badass Club. So I know that's not going to be a thing. I really don't think it's going to be CM Punk. He seems busy with other things. So my best guess would be somebody else coming in, which in that situation, it could be anybody except for the Briscoes, apparently. It could be anybody. So, yeah, I have no idea. But if it seems too perfectly slotted for another tag team to slide in there. And, I mean, it could just be somebody from the back, but I don't know who from the back it would be.
I feel like if it was somebody from the back, they would have come out already because that was a pretty long beatdown. Vic, do you have any guesses on who might balance the books here?
Savio Vega and Homicide because it feels very Puerto Rican.
I mean,
okay.
You know, I mean, those 2, they could easily. Savio Vega could come in as a red manager. That's a perfect spot for him. You know what I mean? Because these guys are very New Yorican, and that's, in my opinion, that's their whole shtick. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
especially what you see Eddie Kingston with the New York Fitted, and those guys from the Bronx, and then the other ones from Yonkers. So, somebody like Homicide, he's already showed up in AEW, and he's like champions and other promotions and stuff like that. He could show up, and then Savio Vega could just come in and be a mouthpiece. You know what I mean? Because he's still floating around. So, and they could do this whole Puerto Rican thing.
Yeah.
And I think it could work, because the beatdown was big enough where somebody else is going to have to come in. You know what I mean? Or it could just revert back to LAX and do something with Conan and whoever else was a part of that. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like somebody else is coming in. Like they're opening the door for somebody.
It's Brian Cage. He's big enough for two men.
I was about to say Homicide and Hernandez.
I mean, I agree. He's definitely, we haven't seen him in a long time, so yeah.
Anything's possible. He re-signed for whatever reason. So maybe he's coming in to do something big. Got a couple of opinions here talking about the ratings. Joker, do you think that a dip in the ratings is cause for concern?
No.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on. No offense, man. Look, AEW is a new company. The stars are going to be new. I agree with this 100%. Look.
We never said our people were
homie? Never said it. Anyway, keeping it moving. Jade Cargill had a promo next. She wanted to know who her 30th win was going to be. Smart Mark Sterling says Leva Bates is the best option. Jade, of course, offended. She's that bitch. I mean, come on. Should her 30th win be a joke? Absolutely not. Poor Leva Bates sent packing in tears. And Smart Mark definitely trying to steer Jade away from his second choice, which is Marina Shafir, who we just talked about earlier this evening. Talked about how she has all of this MMA and black belt experience. Smart Mark not sounding super confident in his client that she's going to bring home the victory. Vic, is this 30-0 for you, or does Marina Shafir walk away as the new TBS champion?
30-0. I see 50-0 for this lady. I mean, come on.
Thank you.
This is a man with taste over here.
This is
a man without taste. Elvis, how could you?
Here's the thing. You know who this is? Goldberg.
Thank you.
That's who this is.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's who this is. That belt is for her. You know what I mean? And looks so good on her. Everything. Come on. I mean, I'm still sizzling over when she came out of that pay-per-view dressed as Jade from Mortal Kombat 3. What? Ow! Man, that was sexy.
Oh my gosh.
Man of taste here.
I am super excited about this new segment that she's trying to introduce, her baddie section. She's even put it out on her Twitter, looking for all the local hotties to come out because she's tired of looking at scrubs in the audience. And I mean, look at her. How can you blame her? Jade Cargill, if you're listening, I would love to be in your baddie section. But we will touch on that in a little bit because we did get a chance to see the baddie section for Columbus, North Carolina. Jeez. Still shocked about Toni Storm coming to AEW. Joker, was Toni Storm's debut a surprise for you?
I'd heard murmurs, but of course nothing confirmed. So I was very excited to see her come out of the tunnel. She looked great. She looked extremely excited to be there, and had a good showing against the Bunny, which I'm sure we'll get to soon.
We certainly will. Well, we have more to cover here, ladies and germs, but stick with us. We will be right back after these messages.
How am I supposed to fit in with these guys when you've got me set up as an outsider?
G.I. Jane. Why don't they just get it over with? Call her Joan of Arc.
Welcome back, everybody. Watch out for Will Smith. Check under your beds. I wanted to address this really quick. Yes, WWE has a lot of superstars, and they always have, and they always will. Not once on this show have we ever come after and attack WWE. They are an amazing promotion and have wonderful superstars for the sports entertainment that they put out. And at the end of the day, that's what they do. That is what they say that they do. So for me, it's not a comparison. It's two completely different companies. Nobody ever said WWE wasn't doing well around here, except you.
Also, Elvis, I would just like to point out the woman's got presence too, and that's something that you can't, you can't deny. And that's not just because of her looks. The looks helps. The woman looks like she could punch a hole in a brick wall.
Yo, them cheeks.
That too. I wasn't going to bring that up, but that too. I mean, the
outfit in the promo. The outfit
anyway.
In the promo. Moving on.
Stepping over Jade Cargill.
I know. Too many Simps in here. Wheeler Yuta versus Bryan Danielson.
Jesus.
This match for me, and I'm sure for Joker too, match of the night. Wheeler Yuta's best match ever. I'm not familiar with his other work, in the indies, so I don't want to say
it wasn't
ever,
that good.
But I mean, this was a coming out party for him, and the crowd was behind him 110%. Regal on commentary. William Regal is a riot. Every time I get to hear him talk to Man in the Mask,
Man with the mask,
I always get a chuckle. But Regal making his interest known very quickly for Mr. Yuta, despite the slap that we saw last week. He's hungry for some new talent, and he's got his eye on Mr. Wheeler. So much grappling in this match. We got the second week in a row of Wheeler Yuta chants from the crowd.
Strong ones this week.
Yeah. And so I think that the more that he kind of rubs elbows and maybe even potentially joins the
Blackpool.
Yeah, the badasses. It can only jumpstart his career for sure. Yuta with this crazy leg lock, and he did like this back bend with no hands. Like, I was super, super impressed with him. But at the end of the day, Psycho knee to Yuta. Yuta spits in Bryan Danielson's face as he's about to go for the stomp.
With authority.
Like, he still had some chunks, and it was kind of gross. But Tombstone kind of mirroring what Moxley did earlier this evening with a Tombstone as well into his finisher, the label lock. And at the end of the day, Danielson walking away with the win here. Vic, talk to me about Wheeler Yuta. How do you feel about him joining Regal's band of bandits?
First of all, I think that Lord William Regal is the biggest threat to WWE at the moment, because his mind for the business is amazing. The fact that he practically ran NXT for the first 10 years of its existence means that he knows how to put a good story together, how to put a good match together.
Mm-hmm.
So him just being the leader of all this is amazing. Number one, you have a guy that reinvented his career in John Moxley, and then you have a guy that's going to AEW doing the same thing that CM Punk is doing and getting guys way over the fucking stratosphere.
Oh,
and
yes.
You saw that in this goddamn match. And mind you, I predict that Vince McMahon watches Bryan Danielson's matches and is just upset. And is upset and is mad at him for taking these bumps. This guy is taking bumps that he should not be taking. You know what I mean? The guy that
Mhm.
was on 10 years ago, retiring and blah, blah, blah. Wow. Wow. The things that he is doing is amazing right now. And the way that he's getting people over and building this faction. Because what has me very interested about what Lord William Regal is doing is what's the end result. Because this is a slow burn. And I'm very curious to see how big this faction gets. This has got me excited.
No, without a doubt. Like this, like you said, 2 consecutive weeks of Wheeler Yuta chants. We've never gotten Wheeler Yuta chants. I mean, maybe here and there, just little bits, but like true chants. And I mean, tonight he got so many, and this is the hardest I've ever seen him go. And it just proves what they're trying to do really does work. You know, Wheeler is one of those people that, you know, you and I have said plenty of times, he's a great talent. I don't know what's, you know, the disconnect between him and the fans. But you put him with people like Danielson and Moxley and really get that raw grit out of him and show what he's truly capable of. Because there's stuff that we saw him do tonight that I've never seen him do before. And I was, like you, very, very impressed. I'm like, dang, I didn't know he could do that. Like, all right, you like there was plenty of times I was just screaming. I was like, hey, let's go, Yuta. Like, all right, I see you right now. Like, my man came out here and was like, this is what I'm capable of. I want you all to take me seriously. You have to take me seriously. And
shining light.
Shining brighter than he has ever. And I don't know if people have ever really thought he could. You know, I'm sure plenty of people wrote him off as, oh, he's just the guy that takes all the bumps and the best friends. No, he's actually a really good wrestler. Like, the man's really good. And I mean, the energy that he gave, I mean, Danielson gave him everything that he asked for. You know, Danielson, you saw Yuta's chest at the end of the match. It was bruised, and the match wasn't even over yet. So I can only imagine what it's going to look like tomorrow. But, like, he took everything Danielson could throw at him and then gave Danielson everything he could take, which, you know, and, of course, Danielson always comes out of it looking, you know, calm, cool, and collected. But you can see there was a couple of times where he was like, okay. And I love how Regal, you know, like you said, Vic, Regal has such a mind, and like that was why I had such a tangent when they let him go. Regal is one of the greatest minds in wrestling. That's undeniable truth. And to have him in a company that is fresh like this, with so much fresh young talent, the sky is the limit. And we are definitely going to see more and more of his influence, which we already have so far. You know, we're going to see more and more of his influence stretch across this company. But yeah, I'm like Vic. I can't wait to see who all joins this faction, because at this point, they could take anybody and it's going to be gold. Like, I'm very excited because Lee Moriarty was one of those people that Danielson said in his original promo, you know, when he was trying to get Moxley to come on in the first place. I really feel like he's probably, as far as the people that he mentioned, is probably the one that I would say needs the most work as far as like his presence and everything and connecting with the crowd. But after seeing what they did with Yuta, I have no doubt whatsoever. I mean, Garcia is one of the other ones, and he doesn't even need that much help. So I can only imagine what heights they can shoot Daniel Garcia up to. I could see them, if they get all 3 of them together, that's going to be, depending on when they drop it, that they might be your first trio champions.
Oh, man. I hope
could you
so.
Could you imagine, even if they drop it soon and give it to the House of Black, have those 3 be the one, like the proteges, not Danielson and Moxley, have the proteges that they have now taken and formed. You know, House of Black has had this death grip over the trios titles for God knows how long. And then finally you get the little squad that they wanted, that they have now been cultivating and making more and more violent and vicious and just all out technically sound, and finally have those 3 young guys take it off of the, you know, the gaggle of goths.
Yes, of course. Yes, the young stars are still green. The company's only 3 years old. I don't know what more you expect. Undisputed title celebration next. Undisputed era, essentially. Red Dragon and Adam Cole, baby, yes. Come out with the tape over the real champions' names on the titles. I thought that was hilarious. Their top secret party supplies are a couple of gold balloons that kind of just float sadly into the air. Adam Cole insists that you can't steal what already belongs to them. They're the three best, not only in the company, but basically in the industry. And no mention of the Young Bucks at all in this whole segment, just about the three of them. But before too long, Hangman arrives in his horned Tesla. And look, man.
This man went full JBL. But like millennial JBL, and I'm all for it. Like I popped for it. I'm dumb. Call me what you want. That shit was funny.
Makes his appearance, comes in, and basically kicks everybody's ass. Samoan drops for Adam Cole, knocking Red Dragon out of the ring. And just as they're about to make their escape up the ramp, Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian Cage cut off their escape and attack them as they're trying to leave. The belts go back to their rightful owners, and the Young Bucks are nowhere to be seen during this segment. Pretty straightforward wrap-up of last week, basically them stealing the belts. Vic setting this up for perhaps Battle of the Belts to maybe have rematches for some of these. Do you see title changes this time around?
No. I see Red Dragon getting Jurassic Express over. I see Jurassic Express having those belts for a little while. And Adam Cole has such good mic skills that wherever they go with Adam Cole and Hangman Adam Page, whether they do another match or whatever, clearly Hangman's gonna hang on to that for a little bit because it was a slow burn for him to get it. But I think that eventually it'll get on Adam Cole. But I'm not gonna lie, the NXT Championship looks so much better on him. I feel like that LA Championship was too big for him, honestly. Like it just felt like it was like he was a little kid carrying that thing.
It is a little bit big for him. Like he is a short king.
Yeah. Like how like the women's championship was perfect for Riho and nobody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes like that belt feels like the Mark Henry ECW championship. Like, you know what I mean? Like they made one. Like, it feels really big. Like it's great and we all love it. Like it's like the modern day big gold. But like, yeah, for some guys this is gonna be a problem. On Hangman, it's good, but on Adam Cole, and mind you, I love Adam Cole. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like eventually he's gonna get it. And this entire segment was just great. I love how they put duct tape on the name.
Yeah.
I screamed the second they walked out of the ramp. I was dying. I was like, these fools put masking tape over the nameplates. That's the
and then
best.
Wrote their names.
In Sharpie.
In Sharpie.
Like it was great. Adam Cole is just hilarious in the way that he does things. Like him just I don't think he'll ever be able to be faced in AEW, honestly. I would really like to see how that works out because the way that he does things is so incredible as a heel. I love it. I mean, he's a heel face because how good it feels to be inside an entire crowd. And mind you, I was at Arthur Ashe. Mm-hmm. And like everybody just saying "bay bay," honestly, in my opinion, that's part of the main reason why he's over. But still, like it's so fun. It really is. It's fucking great.
Man's got charisma for days.
Yes. This feels like Adam Cole is getting Hangman over. That's what this feels like. Maybe because like I'm such an Undisputed Era mark, and that might just be my opinion. You know what I mean? But that's what
I feel like it. I feel like they are using a bit of Undisputed's natural, because Undisputed does have a certain air about them that they do have legitimacy behind their careers. So even with them being, the dickheads that they are so good at being, because I mean that's what they've always been, but they've always been a viable threat. And Hangman being able to, come out there and run them off like that, it helps, with Hangman. And I mean, Hangman, I love that guy as champion. He can stay champion. I know people have had mixed emotions about his title reign, but put some respect on my champ's name. Man came out with a Tesla with Longhorns on it. That takes balls.
That was wild.
That was funny.
We do respect your opinion too, and we appreciate that you gave AEW a 9 out of 10. We understand that it's not necessarily not for everybody, but if you like different things, might not, and not everything will be for you. But we hope you have a good night.
Indeed.
I mean, honestly, AEW is just proof that the market for wrestling is big enough.
Yeah, and that's all we've ever really talked about is we don't ever want it to be a one-for-one comparison because it can't be. It truly cannot be. We just want some respect, just like on Hangman Page, just put some respect on AEW's name. Entering and thriving in a space that has solely been occupied by WWE for the better part of several decades. That's all. That's all we want is a little respect. Yes, we're young. Yes, we're green, but we're going to get there.
It's going to take time. I mean, how can you compete with, like, for example, Ric Flair could come out and start a storyline with some shit that they pulled off from 20 years ago. You can't do that. You know what I mean? In AEW.
Exactly.
Right.
You got to use somebody else's shit, somebody else's past in order to do that. So, like, they got to build. Hangman is great for that because that's homegrown.
Yes. Put some respect on my man's name. I will not go on a
Jade
tangent this
Cargill.
week. Yes, I will not go on a tangent this week.
That's why that's Goldberg. You know what I mean? If she goes out, that's what she's gonna be remembered for. This run.
I agree, and it's going to take a 50-0 situation for her to get there. So I see her as TBS champ for a long, long time. But speaking of women's wrestling transitioning back, hearing from our brand new crowned women's world champion Thunder Rosa. Toni Schiavone with an interview at the top of the ramp with her. She did finally get to speak this week after the attack from Nyla last week. Basically putting out there that she is the first Mexican women's champion in all of professional wrestling, from what I understand. And huge accomplishment there for women's wrestling across the board. Love to see representation in our championship scene. But basically, she wants to put women's wrestling back on the map. And not only does she want to be the women's, the face of the women's division here, she wants to be the face of the women's division for wrestling in general. And essentially calling out Nyla for her behavior last week, wants to hear from her instead of Vicky Guerrero dumbing it down. Vic, your thoughts as Thunder Rosa as our new women's champion, obviously coming off of the DMD. Were you a bigger fan of one versus the other?
Oh, DMD, of course. You know what I mean? Like, that's her whole stick, but she had to drop the belt at some point. She's up to the point, but like Dr. Britt Baker is up to the point where she doesn't need a title.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't need one, to be honest, in the first place. It just solidified her status.
Yeah, and then the fact that they changed, mind you, I knew she was going to lose the moment they changed the title. That title looks incredibly AAA. You know what I mean? It looks like that title looks like they made it specifically for Thunder Rosa.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean, and mind you, it looks great. They needed to change the title. That title was way too small. So I'm happy that they did it. And mind you, it's not that it wouldn't have fit Thunder Rosa, but just in general, they needed a new AEW Women's Championship title. So and she had a really, really good run, and she's still over. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? And mind you, her and Adam Cole can do stuff together. And I feel like this is the decade where we're finally going to get into intergender. AEW may lead us toward that. You know what I mean? Because this is wrestling and it is staged, it is definitely possible to do that.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I thought that Nia Jax was going to be, the one of the first people to break into that with her joining the Royal Rumble, which is fucking awesome. Still love that spot. But I feel like, somebody like her, like DMD, she can, because she has amazing matches. She has wars in the ring, and she could fight a guy. She could do. Candice LeRae did it. You know what I mean? But she did it in the Indies. You know, I feel like now these people have their names big enough where they can start doing other things. So I'm excited to see her future. But when it comes to Thunder Rosa, what I'm really excited about seeing is part of the promo that she was saying, because she was saying that she will defend it anywhere, right? So what I like about AEW is that you see how FTR is coming out with somebody else's belts. Mm-hmm. The Omega was running around getting all these titles. AEW is Android. WWE is Apple. Android plays with Windows. You know what I'm saying? Android, like AEW will go to MLW, and AEW will go play around with New Japan, and they'll go
GCW,
and they'll go play around and do all of this stuff. Wasn't Moxley like a GCW champion not that long? You see what I mean? Like, I think that Thunder Rosa can take this title and treat it like the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, where you run different promotions. That's one of the things that I'm very, very excited about when it comes to AEW, because they're not a public company. They're not public. You know what I mean? So because they're public, these doors are open. Therefore, we'll see what she does. I'm excited because the possibilities are endless with Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, with the newest edition for this week, we will be getting to that match shortly. I know everybody wants to talk about Toni Cake Storm. We'll get there soon. But yes, obviously with the newest edition for this week and potentially more on the horizon, given where we'll be next week, Athena, aka or previously known as Ember Moon, her hometown. Do you see this as being a breakout run for Thunder as far as some pretty promising opponents she could be facing?
Yes. I see a nice fight with her and Mercedes Martinez, and it could be Toni Storm and just a whole bunch of other people. People just coming in for a little stint.
Yeah, nobody says you have to be here. It doesn't have to be a long time, just a good time.
Yeah, because sometimes it's just about the match. Like when we go to an indie show, a lot of times it's about a match, not a story.
Right.
So
you have to tell your story within the match.
Yeah.
I mean, Cardona came in, had like 3 matches, and then left.
And now how many belts the guy got now?
3.
That is wild. He is totally crushing it out there.
Yes. And putting NWA back on the map.
That is the one thing I can say. Obviously, very sad to have a lot of these wrestlers released from WWE as they, trim the books, and the pandemic had an effect on every company. No, I don't want to make any excuses for them cutting people and having them lose their jobs, but at the same time, they're a business and they can make their own decisions. However, it has revitalized the indie scene in a way that we haven't seen in quite some time. You see and hear about a lot of people out there making names for themselves that, used to be on their way to WrestleMania just a couple of years ago.
Honestly, I think that Selena Vega is proof that they'll fire people to restructure a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Without a doubt.
There are plenty of people that I could see back in the WWE framework. Braun Strowman, he has a Vince McMahon written all over him. They obviously have been in business for such a long time that they make smart business decisions. So you never know who you'll see back in the fold there. But I too am excited getting back to AEW for Thunder Rosa and her time here as champion. Transitioning really quickly, talking about these other titles, FTR had a brief promo here, holding their AAA tag team champions, championship belts. They're going to be defending those pretty soon. And basically they're going after the Ring of Honor tag team championships, which they're going to fight for on the Supercard on Friday. And they plan to be the first 2-time AEW champs. Honestly, with the amount of times they've said this, I truly think they will be the first 2-time champs. However, basically calling out the Young Bucks, They can't stand being second, and they want FTR versus the Young Bucks too. Joker, briefly on this, I know that you really enjoyed their first bout. Who do you see walking away the victor this time? Is it FTR?
Yes. I'm excited. Hey man, I mean, you got two. Look, you've got the two best tag teams in the world, minus the Briscoes and the Lucha Brothers. Like those, like what more do you need to say?
Yeah. Like you got to remember something. Look at the chemistry between the Young Bucks and Fuck the Revival.
FTR can stand for just about anything.
No. But they took Fuck the Revival so far to the point he stuck with that name.
Yep.
Thank you, Young Bucks.
When they came out with it on their trunks when they were still in WWE, I was dying.
Wild. That whole situation was so wild.
So, like, the chemistry that these guys have and the shit that they're going to put together with the second match, it's going to be good.
Because the Young Bucks are notorious for trying to one-up themselves. Not just everybody else. They love one-upping everyone else. They want to make sure that they have the most memorable match of the night every time they go out, which is one of the reasons they're so amazing. But one of the things I love about the Young Bucks, you can watch any match that they've done, especially if they've done like a series, they always try and one-up themselves every time. And so I can't wait.
And FTR is a great opponent for something like that.
Oh, yeah.
That is for sure. Moving on to one of the more anticipated segments, the Bunny versus our mystery opponent for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, who turned out to be Toni Storm making her AEW debut. We did get to finally see Jade Cargill in her baddies section, a couple baddies in the front.
Yes.
Jade Cargill, please. There was a man in the audience that was absolutely losing his fucking mind. Like, the fact that Toni was like, I don't know if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. Anybody who has, he's the foaming mouth guy. Like, he just was so happy to see her. And I'm really happy for him. For me personally, I don't know if it was just a chemistry. This match was slow to start for me. Like, the match kind of took a minute to take off. And after they came back from commercial break, they kind of kicked it into high gear. But Toni came away looking amazing. Pretty back and forth match from them. And Toni got the win with the Storm Zero. Obviously, her finisher has stayed with her into AEW. And so she is moving on in the Owen Hart tournament. Joker, your thoughts on Toni Storm joining our women's division?
Look, I'm always excited. I mean, we always make the jokes whenever another guy gets signed because it's not necessary. But I'm always excited to see another female, especially a very experienced in the ways of, TV. Yet another person who can help, build the division because, the women's division is far more green. I mean, we got a lot of green talent in the men's division as well, but the women's division is far more green. And I feel like Toni is going to be another great addition to help build and elevate the women's division.
I agree. Vic, how do you feel seeing Miss Toni Storm?
Oh my God, I popped so hard. I was so happy for many, many, many reasons.
Especially them pants.
Now, mind you, number one, I'm already excited because I have tickets already.
Oh, snap!
Yeah.
I have an NXT UK Women's Championship to get signed. Already signed by Rhea Ripley.
Oh, man. You'll have to send pictures.
I have a WWE Evolution mini belt to get signed by this lady. Why? Because she won the Mae Young Classic that night. So I'm very excited to meet this young lady because just of those things and just to meet her because I think she's a great wrestler. Aside from the fact for being beautiful, from having great cakes, she has mic skills, she has in-ring ability, and she's very young. She's got a ton of time.
Mm-hmm.
She's a brawler. You know what I mean? She's like, she reminds me a little bit of Paige. Just hot. Just hotter. Paige is pretty hot, but she's hotter. You know what I mean? But like, she'll brawl in the ring and put on a really good fucking match. So this girl is funny.
I agree. And I feel like there need to be more women in the division that carry themselves the way that Britt Baker carries herself, Jade Cargill carries herself. Like, they think that they are the shit. And they are. I mean, they're some of the most talented women in the division. And I think that that level of confidence can only take you that much further. And when you have years of experience of being in front of a camera, cutting promos and different things like that, I think she will be an amazing addition to elevate the women's division. All this, no numbers. If anybody is giving Toni, if anybody is
numbers getting given,
my number, please. Anyway,
oh man, my wife.
Staying in the women's division here, Nyla Rose promo responding to Thunder Rosa's from earlier this evening. Thunder did make a comment during hers that while pillars fall, because Britt obviously talked a lot about her being a pillar of AEW, while pillars fall, foundations basically don't go anywhere. And Nyla says that she is the true foundation, and she's kind of right. She's been there since day one of the first women's champions, so got a strong case as far as foundation for the women's division. But she plans to write her legacy in Thunder Rosa's blood, and that Thunder obviously has a death wish, and she's a genie, and she's going to grant her wish. Abracadabra, bitch. Nyla's, I mean, she won the award this year for best Twitter follow, and she doesn't get on the mic very often, but every time she does, it's always memorable for me because she is hilarious on top of being absolutely intimidating. I would want to fight her.
I think that she's going to be. I think that she's going to add awesome calm in this situation. What do I mean by that? I think that she's going to do the same thing that she did for Riho. Make Thunder Rosa look really good against this really big opponent. I think that's the reason why they're going Nyla right away. You know what I mean? To just give her this big, like, wow, you could do that. Oh, you could beat her. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Kind of establish her as somebody. I mean, her beating Britt already establishes her as a force to be reckoned with. But yeah, somebody like Nyla is definitely a huge hurdle in her quest to remain AEW Women's Champion. Joker, interesting question for you here in the comments. Tell me to get you in trouble. Don't worry, you could never get Joker in trouble. But yeah, I'm curious, man. Who would be your one pass?
Why do you have to ask? It would obviously be Jade.
Hey,
nothing against Toni, but Jade. My headphones are green.
Look.
Like
any other answer would be the only way
her money.
To get in trouble.
Exactly.
Sancocho out of that. Like,
you said what?
If there's a way to make a sancocho out of that, like mix the ingredients together.
Oh my God! Could you imagine?
Boy.
Could you imagine?
You know.
Jade with an Australian accent.
These two will cross paths before too long. Hopefully not too long, but they will definitely cross paths.
Go for it, bud.
And when they do, I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely banger match. All right, main event time, because we are getting late here, everybody.
Oh, wow. Shit. Yeah, we are.
Yes, we are. Andrade El Idolo with Jose coming with him out, but not down to the ring. Same thing with Darby Allin with Sting. Both of them kind of make an appearance, but they do retreat to the back. So it is the two of them to start off. Andrade attacks before the match. I mean, he absolutely laid into Darby.
That tornado was nuts.
Throwing the tornado off the top, throwing him into the apron, the timekeeper's table. He flipped this. Darby did get some offense back because Andrade got slammed into the stairs and had the skateboard off his back from Darby. But then Darby gets slammed into the stairs that are turned sideways. But through all of this, he insists on starting the match. Bryce Remsburg, the officiant for this particular match, trying to check on Darby, but he's like, no, grabs him by the collar, start the match. But yeah, Darby pretty much spends the first segment of this match getting his ass kicked in the corner. But coming out of the break, he gets a little bit more offense in. There's like a slap fight going on. I have a question for both one of you, whoever wants to answer, kind of interjecting here for a second. What is with AEW and their fascination with whipping people? I thought it was a Cody thing, but Cody's not here anymore. We had 3 segments this evening where people did some shit with belts. Jericho had a belt during the Jazz promo section. Andrade was about to take his belt. Like, who's got a belt fetish? I need to know. Tony, let me know.
I think it's just impactful. You know what I think it's about? I think it's about the sound.
I was going to say, yeah, a belt has a specific sound that is very quick to be made, and you can hear the severity of it every time it lands. It's one of those things, because, like, you know, you can hear chair shots that sometimes don't sound super impactful, but with a belt, I mean, somebody's going to wind up with a really nasty welt, but, I mean, you can really lay in with a belt, and it gives that, you know, that sound, especially, you know, Jericho had his studded belt, so that added to it. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, like Vic said, that sound is just something, it cracks through an audience. Like, you hear that, and you just, that hurt.
And then the thing is, the other thing with that is that you got to be prepared for that. There's no way to fake that.
Yeah.
Right.
They're like, you know, you can land like this when you take a bump, or you could, you know, maneuver your body for certain things. But for that, nah, bro.
Yeah, you're going to wind up with welts. Like, that's just how it, and it's one of those things that it's such an instant visual, because as soon as somebody gets cracked with a belt, like Vic said, you can't fake that. So when you lay in with a belt, you gotta hit them. And so that's one of those things, you know, you get hit with a belt one good time and you can see it across whoever's back. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you get a good couple of belt shots in there, instant visual.
And then, mind you, you got to remember, like, a lot of these wrestlers, like, they're guys like Spike Dudley that, like, just love people going, oh!
Yeah, that's true.
That pain. You know, just to hear everybody go, oh!
Just to get a rise out of everybody.
Mm-hmm.
These are some very interesting points you guys bring up. I thought it was a fetish, but that actually is a far more likely possibility. I do think that Cody has a pain thing, though. Some of the things that he's put himself through, I'm like, you made that choice. You made that decision. All right, wrapping up this match, crucifix bomb from the top. Absolutely crazy spot. Jose then tries to come down to make the save. Sting then intercepts Jose, but then is intercepted by the Butcher and the Blade, who come down to beat his ass. At the end of the day, Andrade hit the El Idolo for his finisher, coming away with the victory. And the AFO do a beatdown after the match. Hardys come in to make the save, twist of fate, swanton combo, and everybody claps to end the show. Vic, how you feeling about the Hardys in AEW?
Well, they have to do whatever spots they want to do, close out their stuff before they go get into the Hall of Fame. They'll probably be in the Hall of Fame probably within the next 10 years. You know what I mean? The WWE Hall of Fame. But I got a feeling that they're going to run around AEW. They're going to run around other promotions, ROH and NWA or whatever, and just be the Hardys. Do the Swanton Bomb. Do the spots that, you know, but then at the same time, you notice after he did the Swanton, he already held his back. He was favoring his back right away.
He almost hit his head.
Yeah. So then, I mean, he's taking risks that he probably shouldn't. But this is what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Brother Nero. I can't wait to see the drone again. I can't wait to see.
Oh yeah.
Wait to see more of this. Broken Matt Hardy stuff. Like, I can't wait, because now he could do it. Now there's no fucking bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They have the freedom to do their shtick. and I'm here for it. Yeah, I'm excited that unfortunately the circumstances were what they were, but you could see that like Jeff Hardy was a shell of himself in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So like now that he's here, I'm excited for it. People may have their opinions on it, like because at this point AEW is getting to the point where people feel like there's just too many people. But if you can use them, nobody's bitching about Lord William Regal at the moment.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if there's a way to use them, then it might work. You know what I mean? Look, Mark Henry, he's not wrestling, but he's being used.
Yeah.
And on to the next. You know what I mean? But he's still, you know what I mean? That's what he wanted to do. Son, fucking use him. You know what I mean? So,
I agree, because even though they've brought in several veterans and everything like that, you are still seeing them paired with young talent to either progress a storyline or just specifically to get them over. So I agree. I mean, is the roster bloated? Yes. I would be lying to you as an AEW fan if I felt or if I said that I felt like it wasn't. However, I also agree that if somebody like a Keith Lee or a William Regal becomes available, you don't just, turn the other cheek and let them be picked up by somebody else when they could be bringing these assets to you and your company. Joker. We've talked a lot about the Hardys in the past. How did you feel about this match specifically?
Andrade and Darby had an absolute slugfest. I'm glad they got all the illegal stuff out of the way in the beginning of the match. I thought that Toni just outstanding. Darby took all the unnecessary bumps because that's what he loves to do and give people heart attacks. Yeah, interesting to see. I hope for Darby and Sting versus the Hardys at some point. If nothing else, is just like a showman, what do you call it? A show of respect, type match. Because a lot of us really want at least some sort of redemption for Hardy versus Sting from all those years ago. But yeah, Hardy's gonna Hardy. Jeff was in AEW for 2 minutes and Jeff was in AEW for 2 minutes and jumped off a ledge through 2 tables. So, it was awesome. I can't lie and say it wasn't awesome. So, hey man, Hardy's gonna Hardy. That's how they're gonna live and they're gonna die by the sword. They're old school warriors. That's how it works.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I think based on everything we've heard Jeff say at this point, he's just very happy to be feeling of use. Obviously they've built this legacy and they could be using it. AEW is a very strong tag team division to be putting over tag teams. I'm curious how much longer we, hang out in this AHFO, Darby Sting situation. I think they're using that to kind of get them over, but I'm interested to see who they work with in the future. Because, just like we said, like the Ring of Honor people, they could show up on the super card and do a match, 5-7 minute match and put somebody over there like crazy. Oh yeah, that's right.
Willow's been in AEW a couple of times.
Do you watch Dark Elvis? Maybe you should.
Wait, the guy with the question marks.
Trent.
No, the guy that was in ROH.
Josh Woods.
Man, the guy that everybody was crazy about. That was like almost running. That was like rude and part of the Bullet Club, and that had like a big nose thing that looked like a penguin, and everybody was excited about this guy. What is this guy's name? Oh my god!
Who? Marty Scurll?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, Marty. So I think they were a while back. Marty was supposed to be in there, but then there was controversy, and the execs, kind of like a Briscoe situation. Turner came in and was like, no. Or I'm sorry, Warner Media was in there like, no. Yeah, because they did tease him during the pandemic at one point, and that was when
everything came up.
Yeah, same situation with the Briscoes there.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
And what was it?
Because after Matt Riddle and Enzo Amore, like a lot of that stuff. like part of the business now. But,
yeah, it is what it is.
Indeed. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us for all the segments on tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. This has been the recap and review. As always, I'm Divine Intervention. He's All Elite Joker. Vic, thank you so much for joining us this week. It was awesome to have you.
you're welcome. I'm sorry if I rambled too much. I really felt like I made
No, man,
No,
we
of
ramble
course
here
not.
all the time.
it was great though. I had a good time.
If you're
TK
rambling, that
should-
means you had a good time.
Absolutely. TK should definitely sign Chris Rock and Will Smith. They will fight at Double or Nothing. Maybe even make an appearance at WrestleMania. Who knows? Vince McMahon works very quickly and has a lot of money. All right, everybody. We've run this out long enough. We'll catch you next time. See you on Wednesday.
Peace, everybody.